It's okay. I'm at your service. You be the director. Well, let me first say this. There's more to say than can be spoken. In my case, um, I'm incapable of doing anything like this by myself. It's beyond my capacity. That's why I work with John Kane, Philip Glass, with all the young and very talented people in the studio. They all know more than I would ever know in many, many years. What I bring is a sensibility, I struggle to pull out of myself because it's not my idea, it's more something that passes through me. In that sense, you could consider it a grace or a burden. And as I said yesterday or today, I can't remember, my commitment is not with grace and gratuity, but more like to an insane asylum. And so what I look for is people that I feel are capable of collaboration. I never believe that they're the best, that anyone is the best person to work with, or the best composer, or the best editor, or the best director. I believe that all of us can walk on water if we only believe it. And so I believe in the process. So anybody that wants to work on a project that I have, they have to be willing, as it were, to go into the tank. I have a bell that I bring to all the editing rooms, and I ring it at 10:30 every morning. Everybody must be present for that bell, and we work all day long. It's not like, and the editor can't be precious and say, oh, maybe you can see something a few months from now. Every day we all sit and do a critical analysis and response to what the editor does. In that sense, everything is collaborative. It's not a one-man show. Food is a big part of the creative process. It's a way for us to stay together during the entire period. And not only the people that are working, but then they can bring their loved ones or their spouses or their children in as well. So that we create a family. We in effect go into a submarine, disappear from the world for, in this case, 23 months. All the people except for Philip that worked on this film work usually on projects that last anywhere from 2 weeks to, say, 2 months at the most. 23 months is like going up Mount Everest for them. So at first it's very difficult to get used to the rigor of it, but if you do it consistently day after day, it becomes easier and easier to take that journey. So and by collaboration, therefore, I mean really being together, all at once, doing the project, not people at home on electronic mediums. Like right now, I have a friend who's a screenwriter. He tells me how liberating it is not to have to see the director, not to see anybody. He sits at home on his gizmo and sends it all, but there's no human presence there. You miss something that the machine can't give you. It's this, I call it a dialogic arrangement. There's a statement, I guess it's Descartes, that says, I think, therefore I am. Let's turn that on its ear. I speak, therefore I think. I need to be in the presence of other people frequently to hear my own thoughts. By virtue of their presence, it elicits this voice from me, which I get to hear for the first time. That doesn't sound too crazy. If you don't have a boiler or the boiler plate, you can't build up the necessary pressure in this thing to make it fecund and heat up the building. I want to bring that schedule is the boilerplate. I, with my principal producer, Lawrence Taub, figure out ahead of time, and it's an assumption as to how much time we're going to need, and therefore what we're going to shoot, and or what we're going to shoot, and what the story is, and how much time that means, and therefore what the budget is. But once that's fixed, we always do things on time, within budget, period. For a film like this especially, you don't have the indulgence to go back to a studio. Angels are being You know, most of my angels, if they see me coming, go running in the other direction because they know I'm coming for money. So you have to live by the rules that you set up, and that's the rule. Well, kind of the MO of the film is the vivid unknown. It's that which is present, but we never see it, so it's known but not known. It's vivid. Anything I try to do, people learn in terms of what they already know. So if if you talk about schmaltzes on phlebocytes, nobody's going to know what you're talking about. But if you offer a visualization of something and give it a musical atmosphere, music touches the soul. It's not through metaphor, which is language. Music's a meta language. And the visualization, I'm very keen on what all the locations of the films are, because those are things that speak to people. They touch us. So it's very important. Being from there, like everyone, has got that limit. Let's say New Orleans is full of all kinds of ghosts and memories for me as a child. My family's been there since the 1740s. It's always been a place of enigma and mystery for me, and I've always wanted to try to lend something down there, but I felt I had to get ready for that. My father was born less than 2 miles from that swamp. I spent a lot of time in that swamp as a young man. Those are all very meaningful to me. So it was an opportunity to go back to the place I'm born in and see if I can find something there that would, be able to have a life of its own. The locations are like, in a traditional film, would be like choosing your prime cast, the prime actors in the film. And without, people to do that, the locations become the actors, the music becomes the narration. I love infrared. I've always been fascinated by infrared. It reminds me of silver gelatin of old days. What I like about it principally, and I've always liked that about it, is that it has an otherworldly feeling to it. It can take something as normal as this and make it look like on Venus or Mars. Also, it has the added advantage of not having to worry about what time of the day you shoot in, other than it must be daytime to really see it. I also like thermal imaging. It gives off the heat of things rather than the visage of it. But do I collect images? Am I a collector? No. I'm more of a reader. I have a library. My medium is the written word, basically, or the spoken word when I get a chance. That's why I work with John Kane and his beautiful crew. I mean, they're inundated with, hate the word, but let's call it skill sets beyond my capacity to achieve. I try not to go into things with expectations. I mean, I want the film to have some resonance with some people, but I'm not an idiot in that I believe it's going to be a Sylvester Stallone or a Brad Pitt or, one of those kind of films. It can't, if it was for everybody, it would be the wrong kind of film. So I believe that's generally true for most things in life. If they're good for everybody, then I'm running in the other direction. And then it becomes a standardized product. So it's like a piece of art. Everybody's not going to like the painting. And so that's fine. In terms of expectations, I try to leave mine at the door because they'll be severely disappointed at the end of the day. It's whether it touches you. It's not what it's about. Please, I'm not putting down meaning, but I'm looking more for a meaningful experience. Otherwise, it will be stillborn. I don't know if you know the story of, in the mythology of, in animal mythology, the female lion, her cubs are stillborn, and she roars to provoke their hearts into life. This is, to me, what a film is about. When the audience comes into the theater, I assume they're stillborn. And I want that film to roar, to provoke the audience. And I do that through beauty, curiously enough. The very etymology of the word beautiful comes from kalio, the Greek, the beautiful. But the etymology of kalio comes from kalos, which means to provoke. So beauty's main function is to provoke the listener, the viewer, into a state beyond where they are at the present time. And that's what I think film can do.